Alexa, how many games were released for the Nintendo Entertainment System in the United States?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, a total of 716 known licensed games were released for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
716 games on the Nintendo Entertainment System. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jay. Welcome to Square Pegs. There's some incredible ones on the NES. I think for a lot of folks, that's where we got our start. I know that's what it was for me. While I think technically the Atari 2600 is where I got my start, and the ColecoVision is where I fell in love, the NES is where it became a hobby. Today, I don't want to talk about any of the games that, in my opinion, are ones that everyone talks about all the time. I want to look at some ones that are a little bit overlooked, a little bit underrated, at least in my opinion. We're going to kick things off right now with a really, really interesting action RPG. Crystalis, or Crystalis, however you want to pronounce it. I don't know if there's a proper way to do so. If you know, let me know in the comments down below. It's one of those games on the NES that I overlooked immediately upon its release, and I regret it greatly because I first played this on the Game Boy Color. I didn't actually play it at first on the NES. It took me years to get to it on the NES, and I am so disappointed in myself for not playing this when it released, because this is a phenomenal action RPG with some incredible mechanics. There's a sword charge mechanic, which is really great. The overworld is awesome. The exploration is fantastic. The combat is wonderful. It's just a fun title. One of my favorites on the NES, and something that I think everyone needs to play. To me, when I look at a game like Kickmaster, the first thing that pops into my head is it's a Castlevania clone. For some reason, the sprite work just speaks to me as a Castlevania-like game. Like, this is going to be kind of a methodical, left-to-right, platforming action game. And it does that to a degree, but the gameplay itself couldn't be farther from what you get in Castlevania. It's difficult. So that's a lot like Castlevania, sure, and you don't have weapons other than your feet, which are registered weapons. They are lethal weapons, registered with the state. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sleepy. It's just one of those days. But I absolutely love this game. This is one that was actually introduced to me by the immortal John Hancock a few years back. He actually mentioned it again in my recent collab video where we talked about our favorite NES platformers. And it's just an awesome title. It's something that I think a lot of people missed out on, and that's a shame because it's a really great game. I legit never hear anyone talk about Mission Impossible on the NES. And it's a little bit weird that it was turned into a video game, right? Like, this was a series that had been dead for a while. This is a 1960s television series, but I guess when I stop and look at it, we also got a video game based on Gilligan's Island, which was also a 1960s television show. This one, though, Mission Impossible, is a really fun and really challenging kind of top-down, I want to call it an adventure. It's an action-adventure game because you're kind of wandering through different cities and different buildings as different characters of the Mission Impossible crew, and you use their different abilities to keep moving through the levels. And there's a good challenge here, and there's good combat, and I just really enjoy this one. And this might not be for everybody. Like, this might be the biggest kind of, I don't know, Jay, on this list. But for me, absolutely love Mission Impossible. I have legitimately not heard anyone other than John Riggs talk about this game on YouTube that I can recall. I'm sure other people have. I'm sure if I do a search for it, there's going to be thousands upon thousands of videos about this game. But I never hear anyone talking about or singing the virtues of Legacy of the Wizard. This is a platforming RPG where you get to choose different members of a family to play through the different platforming levels, and each family member has different abilities. The combat is fun. The gameplay is awesome. The music is wonderful. The look is a little dated. I will give you that. But don't ignore this game if just looking at the graphics you're thinking that doesn't look good, because you're missing out. This game is fantastic. Man, I love Gremlins 2, the new batch, both the movie and the video game. And the video game is spectacular. This is a kind of like isometric top-down action platformer where you play as Gizmo. And it's amazing. It's made by Sunsoft, so first and foremost, music is spectacular, and the gameplay is solid and challenging, and the sprite work is incredible. This game just looks amazing. This feels like I don't want to say it feels like a 16-bit game, because it's very clearly an 8-bit title, but I guess it feels like one that was so close to that kind of advancement to the next gen that we're going to call it a 12-bit. It's kind of right in the middle. I know it doesn't make sense. I don't care. I love this game, though. It is an absolutely spectacular title. It's got a good, solid challenge to it. Makes beautiful use of the license, too. Like, it doesn't try to be something it's not. Like, it is very much a Gremlins game, and it leans heavily into Gremlins as a license, but it uses that license to make something great by taking certain liberties with the different levels and things that you're going to do in the game. Absolutely fantastic title, one of my favorites, and a brilliant representation of what Sunsoft could do on the NES. When folks talk about classic puzzle games on the NES, they typically talk about things like The Adventures of Lolo, or Tetris, or even like Yoshi's Cookie or Wario's Woods. But Kickle Cubicle isn't one I hear a lot about, and I think that's a shame because it is a really fun game. It's a very basic premise. You play as Kickle, you are able to freeze your enemies and you kick them into the ocean, into the blank spaces to fill up different areas of the map so you can cross and get to the treasure. You kick the cubes. You are Kickle, they become cubicles. It's a really fun game. It's got a good challenge to it. It's not like a terribly challenging game. It's not like overly taxing of your mind, but it's a fun puzzle game that I think is just unfortunately overlooked. Might seem a little odd to have a first-party Nintendo title on here, but when I look at things on the NES for sports games, the one that people always seem to talk about when it comes to ice hockey is Blades of Steel, and rightfully so. Blades of Steel is fantastic. It is a groundbreaking game for a reason, but for my money, it's ice hockey from Nintendo. A blue box game, like one of the original releases on the console. I think it was a year 2 release, and it was and is a blast to play. Yeah, it's arcade action. It doesn't really follow the rules of the sport to a T, but the gameplay is solid and the gameplay is fun. And guess what? Not really any of the NES ice hockey games follow the rules to a T. This one's an awesome title. It has an incredible gameplay experience. The different characters all having different traits is a really clever way to go about things, and the gameplay is fun. Nothing says weird license for the NES like a game based on Felix the Cat, a cartoon from the 1920s. It's bizarre to me that we got this game. Like, Felix is a timeless character, sure, kind of like Steamboat Willie or Oswald the Lucky Rabbit are timeless characters, but I don't immediately think of those characters getting video games made about them. Like, we had some about Mickey, sure, and Steamboat Willie was featured in there, and we ended up getting Oswald and Epic Mickey and Epic Mickey too, but Felix just seems so out of left field. And what we got was one of the best platformers on the NES. It's a fun game. It's fluid. It's enjoyable. The power-ups are great. The level layout is fun. The controls are wonderful. Everything just works. I absolutely adore this game. It is something that is just a brilliant release. And it got a re-release on modern consoles. I actually played this recently on the Switch, and it plays fantastically well. Wacky Races is one of those Grail games developed by Atlas, first of all, so this whole Atlas makes rare games thing goes all the way back to the NES. And there's going to be another one later on this video as well from Atlas that is an incredible NES game. But this is just a spectacular platformer. And it's not a difficult platformer. There's some challenge here, don't get me wrong. Like, there's definitely some NES hard moments, and there's slidey ice levels, so if you hate those, don't worry, you've only got to deal with an entire continent of it. But it's a really fascinating game, and you get to play as Muttley. How can you go wrong with that? It's based on a Hanna-Barbera property, and you get to play as the bad guy. You don't get to do that in any other Hanna-Barbera game. Like, you're not playing as the Great Gazoo or Mr. Slate in the Flintstones games. I guess, is Mr. Slate the villain? I guess he was the boss, so he's by proxy the bad guy. But it's a really solid game, really good platforming. I love the power-up system as well that you're able to collect as you get the different bones. It's going to like toggle between different power-ups at the bottom of the screen, and you're able to activate them if the bone is on top of them. It's brilliant. You can refill your life. It's fantastic. Absolutely love this game. This is one that I love. It is very expensive though, so if you can't afford it, I would suggest finding alternative ways to play it because it's a really, really excellent title and well worth your time. I never played Time Lord until I got it in a Video Games Monthly box a couple of years ago, and it's a shame because I had been told for a while from a few of my YouTube friends here that it's actually a really fun game, and I didn't believe them because I was blinded by the Milton Bradley of it all. I did not think it could be any good. And guess what, guys? It's fun. It's a solid game. Does it have some bugs? Absolutely. Has it got some quirks? Oh, hell yes, it's got some quirks. But the gameplay is fun. The layout is great. It's challenging. It's excellent. It's not excellent. It's challenging. It's really good. I really enjoy it. Much like Time Lord, Captain Skyhawk is not one that I played. until a couple of years ago, because it was one of those games that I was just like, nah, it's going to be terrible. I don't need to play it. And I wish I had, because holy crap, this game is good. This is a solid flying game on the NES. The graphics are wonderful. I love the implied 3D terrain underneath. The combat is really good. The look is good. The music is basically non-existent, so don't really go into this looking for a good soundtrack. But if you like explosions and you like flying games and you like something that does an incredible simulated 3D effect, you need to check this one out. Captain Skyhawk is worth your time. While by today's standards, Wampa might be considered insensitive, and I mean, truth be told, it is. Like, it's all caricatures of indigenous people here in the States, but if you can get past that and you can just look at the core gameplay experience of it, this game is incredible. This is one of the best platformers on the NES. It feels like, when I look at it, like, to me, this feels like a Dragon Ball game, and I actually need to do some research, and Editor Jay will break in here and say this might be based on a Dragon Ball Z property in Japan. Cut now if it is. But this game is spectacular. It's got some really good gameplay, really good platforming experiences. The graphics are excellent. The combat is wonderful. It's got a little bit of Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link to it with the downward thrust attack, but it also has an upward thrust attack, which is pretty cool. The different enemies and stuff like that in the game are really excellent. There's a good challenge here. It can be relentless. Like, some of the enemy fights can be incredibly relentless and just, like, overwhelming. It's the very definition of NES hard, but man, do I love this game. We've had Kickmaster, might as well go the other side of the body and go with Shatterhand. This is one that was just so amazing to me. Like, this and Power Blade were two of my absolute favorite late NES releases. Shatterhand is amazing. It is a left-to-right platformer where you just punch the crap out of everything on screen. There's a really clever power-up system where you're able to collect these different symbols, and the symbols that you collect will give you kind of like a little helper robot that floats around you and floats behind you and will attack enemies on screen. And it's wonderful. The challenge is there. The design is wonderful. The music is spectacular. One of the best soundtracks on the NES, seriously, here on Shatterhand. And the gameplay is fun and intuitive and easy to understand. This is an NES game that I think every collection really needs. It's a fantastic title that, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people have played. I've talked about Kabuki Quantum Fighter on the channel in the past. It is one of those games that, to me, was just such a weird concept that I couldn't help but be interested in it as a kid. Like, I remember seeing this in Nintendo Power magazine and was just fascinated by the concept. And it's a wonderful game. It's a great platformer. It's got some great movement and great, like, kind of locomotion and traversal as you go through the levels. The combat is fun. It's different, really, than anything else on the system. It does edge a little bit near to Batman from Sunsoft, but it stays its own unique thing that I think it's an incredibly enjoyable experience. And it's not one I really ever hear people talking about, other than, like, my friend Gary from Rock Solid Productions. It's a wonderful game. Check this one out if you haven't played it. Here's our second Atlas game on this list, and this is Rockin' Cats, another incredibly expensive game on the NES from Atlas, but this one's amazing because it's another platformer, which, when I think of Atlas, I don't think of platformers anymore, obviously. We're always thinking of things like Persona or the Shin Megami Tensei series, but they made a lot of really quality platformers back in the day, and this is one of them. And one of the things I really dig about this one is its use of physics, because it's not just a straight, like, up and down, left and right, end-to-end platformer. You actually are able to grab things and swing around a little bit, and the physics are challenging, and it can make things really interesting the way it kind of breaks out. It's an excellent game. It's really worth playing. It's super fun, and much like Wacky Races, if you can't afford it, there's alternative ways to try this one out, and you really should. Oh, Astyanax. I love this game. I remember this is one that my mom got me, and I've talked about this in the past on the channel. There was a Christmas one year where she got me a massive box of NES games. I don't know how she did it. I'm pretty sure that she found a store that was going out of business, or maybe she robbed the place. I don't know. But Astyanax is one of, like, the 20 games I got that Christmas, and it was one that I absolutely loved. And I had no idea it was based on an arcade game until, like, last year. I found it on, it was an arcade console, one of the plug-and-play arcade sticks, and it had the Astyanax on there, and I was blown away. I had no idea. But it's a fantastic kind of hack-and-slash platformer. I absolutely love it. And it's not one I ever hear anyone talk about, because, I mean, at the end of the day, if I look at it and I play it, yeah, it's kind of middle of the road in the grand scheme of things, but that does not change the fact that I personally find it fantastic. Everyone has their favorite baseball game on the NES, and there are many awesome ones to choose from. I could do an entire video talking about baseball games on the NES. I think I might do that. Maybe next month. We'll see. Maybe I'll do a ranking video of every baseball game on the NES to kind of couple with my ranking video of Genesis baseball games. Link on the card right now if you're curious about that. But for me, my favorite NES baseball game is Baseball Simulator 1000. And it's kind of no frills. Like, it is... I mean, all NES baseball games are kind of no frills. There's 2 buttons, but the gameplay is solid. It is a very good implementation of what is basic baseball, basic NES baseball. Like, if you played one NES baseball game, chances are you've played them all, but this one is my personal favorite because it doesn't just do standard baseball. Oh, no. There is much more to it. There is also the Ultra League, where you get to have superpowers. It's great. You can throw lightning bolts as a pitcher. You can split the ball into multiple balls as you throw it. You can make it blow up when you hit the ball. It's amazing. One of my absolute favorite video games, one that I have put legitimate thousands of hours into in my life. Well, maybe not thousands. Hundreds. We'll say hundreds of hours into in my life. Baseball Simulator 1000 is one of the best. One of my favorite films from the 1980s is Willow, an amazing fantasy movie that, yeah, maybe it hasn't aged all that well, and some of the effects are a little cheesy by today's standards, but I loved it then, and I still love it today. I actually went to a store in Columbus, Ohio with John Riggs, gosh, probably 4 years ago now, called Big Fun, and I found some of the Willow movie toys, and I was ecstatic. And the video game from Capcom is one I don't hear enough people talk about. It is a fantastic Zelda clone, where you play as Willow, and all of the characters from the movie are in the game, and it's amazing. Absolutely one of my favorites. The music, combat, graphics, everything is wonderful. Guardian Legend is such a strange concept for a video game, but man, does it work. It's got incredibly difficult bullet hell shmup levels that are almost mind-numbingly frustrating at times. It is such a challenge to get through them, but once you're done and you defeat the boss, it turns into almost a Blaster Master game. It's a brilliant concept. It's a brilliant idea for a game. It is super difficult, but it is incredibly fun. Absolutely amazing game that I never hear people talk about. And if you ask me, I think one of the reasons that no one really knows much about it is the box art. It was just one of those really easy to overlook or really easy to go, what in the world does that have to do with anything kind of games? And it just wasn't compelling enough for people to try it out. It's a shame because it's an amazing title. I have said in the past, this is one of my favorite arcade experiences. Super Off-Road, featuring Ivan Iron Man Stewart, is one of my absolute favorite arcade games. I absolutely love it. If I see it at a barcade and I go to it, I'm playing it. That is the first thing I'm going to play because it is a magnificent experience. And the NES release is amazing. Is it as good as the arcade? No. Is it as good as the SNES? No. Is it still a great game? It abso-friggin-lutely is. It is a wonderful title. If I told you that one of the best RPG... Well, RPG isn't really the right word, but we're going to go with it. If I told you that one of the best fantasy games on the NES involved pinball flippers, you would probably look at me as if I had grown a second head. But the fact of the matter is, Pinball Quest is a wonderful game. It has an incredible kind of idea behind it. Like, it is a pinball video game. It is video pinball, but it takes place in a fantasy realm where you are doing things like fighting skeletons and attacking monsters as they are moving towards you with your flippers and your ball. It's a little bit like Yoku's Island Express, which is a modern day game, or Zombie Rollers, which is a little bit like that as well. But this is where that kind of gameplay all originated, was here on Pinball Quest. Absolutely worth it. There's a little bit of Odama in here too, although there's no rhythm involved. It's just, you know, the pinball and the attacking. Love this one though, absolutely worth it. And thanks to John Riggs for introducing me to this one. I love the Lone Ranger. I have loved the Lone Ranger since I was a kid. I used to watch the old Lone Ranger serial shows back on, gosh, I want to say Nick at Night, but it might not have been Nick at Night. I don't actually know where it was. It might have just been syndicated on local TV up in Massachusetts. I loved the Lone Ranger comics from the late 90s and early 2000s, and I really love the NES Lone Ranger video game. It's got a really good layout to it. You explore a map. You are able to go into the different towns. There's combat in each town with different ne'er-do-wells as you wander around as the Lone Ranger. It's just excellent. Absolutely love this game. One that I searched for a while and I ended up picking up last year. Absolutely wonderful title. Underrated and overlooked. Again. No, that was right. Damn it. I thought I got it wrong. There we are. My list of underrated and overlooked NES games. But That's just my opinion, like I said at the start. I want to hear from you. Let me know your favorite underrated and overlooked NES titles. There are so many out there that so many people overlook. Sports games alone could probably have been this entire thing, and I only included 2 on this list. Let me know your favorites in the comments below. I would love to do a follow-up on this one down the road, but next month, look for underrated and overlooked on the Sega Master System. Till next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. Appreciate you sticking around. Welcome to the new subscribers from last week's baseball ranking video on the Genesis. Thank you all so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. If you are new here, this is your first time, click that subscribe button. I'd love to have you stick around. I do a couple videos a week. And yeah, that's it. So until next time, folks, I've been Jay. I appreciate you being here. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.